Hello, my name is Kathy Rodriguez, and I conducted my fine arts field trip at the National Museum of Mexican Art. It is located at 1852 West 19th Street in the heart of the Pilsen community. I thought that this would be a great way to conduct this project because I've visited here a few times before and I really love how it embraces Mexican culture. And I love it even more after learning about all of the resources they offer for schools, teacher development, and families. And I'm really excited to highlight all of these in the next few slides. I also wanted to point out that the museum's mission statement really goes hand in hand with a bilingual educator's mission to help bilingual learners, and I think you'll be able to see that throughout the programs they offer and what their goals are. And so, something I wanted to point out is that according to the reading, art is a tool for teachers of English language learners. A basic approach of integrating these visual arts with ESL instruction is for the content teacher to independently implement art with her own curriculum. So it emphasizes how teachers should use the arts in their classroom, in their everyday lessons, not just rely on the visual arts teacher. However, there are cases where schools don't have the resources for art education, and this is when it's more important for students to have the visual arts because it's meaningful to them, it motivates them, and supports their language acquisition. And so, the types of school programs the museum offers are exhibition guided tours, which could be tailored to visitors of all ages. They could be offered in English, Spanish, or even bilingual tours based off the permanent and temporary exhibitions. They have exhibition guides, which works by helping teachers integrate the exhibitions into the regular curriculum plan. So it's similar to a lesson plan because it outlines the information of the exhibit for a teacher. It gives them K through 12 activities and image reproductions, and they are always free and can be found online at the museum's website. They have art workshops, both on site and off site, artist residencies, after school art classes, and lecture presentations. And so this is just some extra information on the exhibition guided tours. And so they're usually aimed to help visitors learn about Mexican art and culture as well as its rich history and traditions. And something great is that most of the time, visiting artists will offer live demonstrations and artist technique features in their exhibitions. And so when I visited, I did see the artist of his exhibition. I did see the artist walking around and talking to visitors and explaining a little bit more about his art pieces, which I think is really, really cool. They have a variety of art workshops, so you can take a field trip to the museum and you can take a tour with your students, and then you can have a hands-on workshop after the tour. And this could also be offered in English, Spanish, or both. Some of these could be like the Day of the Dead, featherwork, and printmaking workshops. And then there's something called Art Ambulante, which is, they call it traveling art. And this is when an art educator goes into your classroom and does a lecture, and it's followed by an activity. It's only a 1 day thing, but you can talk about Mexican muralism, yarn painting, or piñatas. And you can also customize your workshops. I thought one of the more important programs they offered for schools were called artist residencies. And these were actually mentioned in the reading art as a tool for teachers of ESL learners. It's through this approach that students can receive this direct instruction from an artist. And the teacher and the artist work together to co-teach interdisciplinary lessons. And what's great about artist residencies is that the teacher gets a lot more say in what they do, and you could have this for a whole year or you can have it for half a year. They are fairly expensive, but the museum informed me that they have a lot of grants for these, and a lot of schools do get to have artist residencies programs in their school. Um, the sessions could be once or twice a week, and I think what's even more authentic about the program is that it really emphasizes on peer interaction, discussions, and studio work and presentations. It's a little bit more it's a little different than the traditional, like how you teach your other classes, but you can teach any subject in this way, in this interactive way. So all of the residencies are connected into the teacher's current curriculum. So it wouldn't take away from your established curriculum at your school. It would only enhance it. The artist would work with you so your lessons are enhanced. So, like I said, it's expensive, but there are grants for this. And these are some of the common topics artist residencies focus on. Murals, and this is a picture of an artist at a school taken from the pamphlet that I was provided with. And there's a variety of sessions offered. And some of the other school programs are after school art classes. So the museum has actually partnered with CPS, and they offer classes that range from visual arts, dance, theater, and music. And most of these art classes are offered at little to no cost for schools with high economic need. And there's also lecture programs where the museum educators bring like a really nice PowerPoint and objects to aid it to K through 12 classrooms, and they can either introduce a cultural topic or they can provide the more in-depth look into a concept that's already been taught in the classroom. And these are some of the popular topics. I thought the Frida and Diego one was interesting because I feel like that's very relevant in middle school literature, and the Day of the Dead is just something very cultural in the fall. So lecture programs would be, I think, more ideal for the older students. And now on to teacher professional development. They offer so many resources. I wish I had more time to highlight them. I think the most important one, though, would be curricular focus. And in the reading art as a tool, they specified how ESL teachers are the ones that offer the outlets for artistic explorations in their own classrooms, while visual art teachers incorporate the literacy-based practices. And so what's beneficial about using art in your curriculum on an everyday basis is that it helps you balance out the type of assessment you do. If you have to assess math with tests, that's okay. But beyond testing, with art, you could do project-based assessment, self-assessment, rubrics, portfolios, presentation, and demonstration, and it really makes your content authentic. Students don't have to worry about taking a test for these types of art projects. They're more engaging. The reading also highlighted how schools can use this art you're doing in your classroom, and you can showcase it. You can showcase how you have integrated the visual arts and an ESL program, and like highlight students' accomplishments by holding like a type of exhibit and include the art in the reading, and even incorporate writing and presenting in it. So you can include art in anything. And so the museum, the education department, they offer professional development with curricular focus for K through 12 and like a range of subjects: language arts, social science, bilingual, and early childhood. And I mean, what's wonderful is that the programs follow the curricular priorities and are all aligned to Illinois and Common Core standards. And so that's the curricular focus program. They also have one day and multi-session professional development, and this basically helps teachers get to know more about a certain cultural subject, so that they're more knowledgeable about teaching the subject. Um, and so these could be 4-hour workshops, and they're usually on Saturday mornings. So it helps them know more about the history and cultural aspect of a certain topic or a certain type of Mexican art. They also do it for cohorts of teachers, and these are some of the popular topics listed. The Let's see, I thought the introduction to the history of Mexico and Mesoamerica was interesting. I thought that was a really great topic, and it would have to be multi session because that's a very, very broad topic. Um, and so, more on teacher professional development, they have educator evenings where it's basically an open house at the museum where teachers can learn more about new exhibits, new, view art demonstrations, receive special tours, and network with other educators. They have adult art classes and workshops, and most of these are actually led by in house educators or guest artists from Mexico and the US. That's very unique. They have lecture resources, curricular resources, and customized programs as well. And you can read more about this on the pamphlet I will attach and on their website, or you can feel free to contact the museum. They also have children and family programs. The Museum of Mexican Art places a very high emphasis on parent and family involvement in children's activities. This is actually a picture of Dia del Niño, which is an annual event they have at the museum. This year's actually happened earlier this month in April, and it invited families and children to come out and take a short walk in the neighborhood. And it was a walk to a neighboring park where they would have activities for children focusing on art. And so one of the programs I wanted to highlight was their bilingual summer camp. It's offered for children ages 7 to 12 in July, and it's an all-day camp where they learn about the diversity in the arts. And then there's a summer camp for children ages 4 to 6 in August. It's only 2 weeks long and only 2 hours per day. And some other programs are Saturday children's art classes, which are only on select Saturdays for ages 7 to 12, and they usually focus on current exhibitions. They have after school art classes, as I had mentioned before. They had family Sundays, which I thought was really creative because they're free, and families can come to the museum, take a gallery tour, and then get to create art together during the sessions from 12 to 2 p.m. every Sunday. So it's a pretty great opportunity that families can take advantage of. And then there's the Yollocalli Arts Reach program, which is an extension of the education department of the museum. And this Yollocalli actually focuses on teens from ages 14 to 21. It's free for after school and summer programs. And a lot of the community artists are the ones who are teaching these courses. And the programs can range from technical skills to basic drawing, painting, public performance, comic making, murals, and graffiti. So if you would like more information, visit yollocalli.org, and the address is 2801 South Ridgeway Avenue in Chicago. And to sum up my presentation on the Museum of Mexican Art, I went to the gift shop and I was able to see some of the resources they had, and I was interested because they offered some books in Spanish that I had read when I was young that I really, really enjoyed, and this one's called The Desert is My Mother, El Desierto es Mi Madre by Pat Mora. This one is actually a children's bilingual picture book of Loteria, which is a very, very popular family game in Mexican culture. It's basically Mexican bingo. I thought it was kind of cute that they had a children's version as a picture book. And I actually walked around Pilsen, just a couple blocks from the museum, where I was able to see some great artwork in the neighborhood. It's a very colorful community, and I think these pictures really reflect on Mexican culture, just Hispanic culture in general, and I think it would be great for bilingual students to be able to connect the art in the classroom with the art in the streets. and see how that's also a form of self-expression. And so these are some of the pictures I took while I was conducting my field trip. I thought this mural was very special because it really reflects on Mexican culture with very traditional pictures and famous icons. And so overall, I actually did not have the opportunity to interview the art teacher at the school I'm observing. I tried to contact her via email, but I did not receive a response. However, in the reading Art as a Tool for Teachers, there were several teacher and student testimonies I wanted to highlight when they spoke about the impact of art programs in their school. From the teachers, we heard that it allows students to learn in new ways. It helped kids express themselves and have an outlet. It taught children how to be independent and become leaders. And they believed art was just as important as science, math, and English. It allowed their students to display their talent and ideas. It helped their students unify and get involved. And they felt it was a new form of communication and expression of self. And it helped make school a lot nicer and more interesting from a teacher's perspective. And from a student's perspective, how did school change with the addition of a visual arts program? Students felt that it made them want to work harder. Students felt that it changed for the good and made progress in building community in their school. They felt it was a much nicer environment to be in. They got to show their work in the halls and they felt proud and had others appreciate them. They said their minds changed for the better and they gained new knowledge in other subjects they didn't understand. They were able to go to museums and have accomplishments like their own exhibits. And they felt their teachers were better and more involved in them. And whereas before there was a lack of spirit in their school, there was now a spirit and they felt enlightened and it helped them understand the world. And these are really meaningful words from students that really emphasize the importance of the visual arts in any school, for any student. But I think my visit to the museum really emphasized bilingual learners and how there's an abundance of resources out there and it doesn't have to be costly if you work together with your administration. And just the difference it can make on any student is it's very evident in art, and I really look forward to using these resources when I become a bilingual teacher. And this says these are my resources, and that's it.